This AskReddit user asks, what has made you lose all respect for someone? Intentionally mean to a disabled person. Instantly, I do not care if you die or not. We will never be friends again. You are not a good person. I don't know that this rule is universal. There is a wheelchair-bound guy that frequents a bar I occasionally go to. He's a complete PK. Rude, arrogant, needy, hostile. He will try to assault you. No one wants to fight a guy in a wheelchair. Fortunately, the staff is all very familiar with him. And when he inevitably starts quick to throw him out. Oh, I'm not saying excuse bad behavior. No FK that. I'm saying don't knock the guy out of his wheelchair. Roll the chair over a cliff and tell him to walk home. I know some absolute CS that deserve to get battered for the way they think they can treat others. Disability or not. This one BH I knew, for example, bit a fairly new carer's head off for asking if she wanted a tea, saying, "You know I don't like hot drinks, why are you asking?" It a shame the carer didn't recreate the kettle scene out of Layer Cake. I would have said she tripped and fell. It's just a flu. Oh no. My mother used 3 of my siblings and my own social to put bills in our names and not pay them. It was like a rotation. When one credit got so low no one would allow the use of it, she went to the next. Between us 4 it was about $30,000 in debt. I had a friend who, after getting out of a long-time relationship with a guy, wanted to try being with a female. Just so happens that there was another female at our workplace that was rumored to be bisexual, so my friend thought that she would be the best candidate to experiment with. I don't know if anything came of it, but my ex-friend didn't see the need to give this person a heads up about what she would want out of this possible relationship. Coworker was a single mother of 3. Christmas was around the corner and she was upset. She was trying to figure out how to explain to her kids that Santa missed their house. We all got Christmas bonuses. I gave her mine and said, buy your kids presents. She went clubbing with it. Oh, she's broke and poor, and next day on all social media she is at the club, buying drinks for other people and smoking. Later she's trying to give people the same sob story. It wasn't that Santa didn't have money for presents. It's that Santa would rather go out and party than take care of her own kids. Lost all respect for her. Broke all ties and associations. You're a nice person. Hopefully one day your generosity will be utilized by someone who is not a total piece of st. That's FD up. Yup. I had bought her lunch a few times because she was crying that she was starving but couldn't afford it so she could feed her kids later. She just used her kids as bait to try and pity free st out of people. Apparently she even had a higher up paying her rent a couple times. My dad had just died. Mum died years before, and I just about kept it together at the funeral, but then needed to get away from it all to process things. I had savings and wasn't working at the time, so thought I'd just jump on a plane and sit on a beach for a while somewhere warm. What I thought was, one of my good friends called me the day after I landed to ask whether I knew what I was getting from my part of the inheritance, as he wanted to not pay his mortgage for a year, so could I help him out so he could do something else with his money. Quote, once I heard that, I ended the call and that friendship right there. Shame, as his wife and kids were lovely, but he was a user and started a long journey for me to take a look at all my friendships and how toxic they were. Some survived. Most didn't. The one he had on a holiday home in France. Not his main residence, so no chance him or his family would be out on the street. My older sister informed me that she overheard my mom and aunt, neither of which are an active part of my life, calling me a sociopath and how people like that shouldn't be alive. I am not a sociopath in the slightest. They just don't know me or ever even ask me at myself. More respect to my sister though, as she told them to shut the HL up for not knowing what they're talking at. My mom gets angry and blacks out with anger, then hits me, calls the police, and I get arrested for domestic abuse. Only BC, she called the police first, and she's a woman. She's done this to me and my dad and grandmother multiple times. You should probably start recording the next time that happens. Yeah, IDK if it's like this everywhere. But unfortunately where I live, any domestic call usually ends with both parties being arrested. A family member of mine got punched by a guy in a hotel lobby, and when the police came they arrested him and her. IDK the full details of how the situation escalated. But I do know that she never laid a hand on him and had multiple witnesses explaining that to police, and they still took her in. I don't think she ended up facing any charges. But that's still shitty emo. I've heard of cops doing that too. It's mainly because domestic disputes are so nasty that they're not going to be able to find out what actually happened right then and there. Unless it's extremely obvious, of course. So a lot of times they arrest both parties, get it sorted out, and figure out if they're going to charge anyone. A real good friend talked about MLM, ACN, for 1 year straight. We all know how they get it. Sickening. He wouldn't talk about anything else. I swear he asked me to join 8 times a day. We made a deal because he was a different person and annoying as FCK you can't imagine. I told him just pay the 180 entree fee for me and I'll join you, and I would really try to make the best of it. Meetings, selling ST etc. So the day we would make me a member. Oh, I don't have my card with my now, I'll send it to your account tomorrow. Big red flag, but this was one of my 5 closest friend I would see 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week. So I paid it, and the next day he was like, why should I pay it? If you put in work you have it back in no time. Of course I broke ties with him, and now when I see him from time to time he still asks me why I never react on his chats and if I wanna come over with my girlfriend, who hated him from the start, for dinner XD. People are so FKKNG weird, man. I'm amazed you continued to talk to him at all. A guy in my friend group in high school was always kind of an AE. But not ever really cruel or extremely insensitive. Just was the kind of person to make jokes at others' expense. Like many high schoolers. Not really a big deal. Until one day, we were walking down the road, and across the street there was a girl who couldn't have been older than like 14 to 15 being helped into a wheelchair. And very clearly had a severe mental disability. So this guy turned and screamed across the street, "Hey RD. Hit the cat daddy," while doing the dance motion. Yeah. Not many of us talked to the dude much after that. We all had pretty FD up senses of humor. But that's way too far. A friend of my daughter confided to me that her stepfather was sexually abusing her and her mom would watch. I urged her to tell the police, and school authorities offered to let her stay with us. She did tell, and the social services forced him to stay away. Her mother made her drop the charges and let him back home. One of my close friends berated means told me I needed to forgive the mother. I dropped my friendship immediately with her and have told everyone I could what was going on in that house. Only community fans will understand. My mom is a LVL7 suspectable. She's the reason I had less all of my life. Sounds like she wasn't streets ahead. Sadly. Them making jokes about people dying due to COVID-19, such as it is great for population control or something. My mother is a nurse working on the front line and I worry about her all day. This made me furious if someone can make a joke out of something that has affected the whole world and millions of families. A crush I once had slept with a manager to get herself a promotion. Got said promotion, then dumped the manager nearly immediately. Then came to me to try and start something between us. It was a solid no. Dodged AFG cannonball there, mate. Right? I think it must have been the first time I used my brain instead of my nethers when it came to this woman. And it paid off well. First your DK reels you into a girl, then your brain and heart decide whether she's a keeper. People constantly victimizing themselves. Yesterday my stepdad, who I thought was great, stole money from my mom and got trashed. He then proceeded to call my mom an AE and a loser. FKU Ryan. You piece of total garbage. Finding out my best friend since 3rd grade backstabbed me over a girl. He spread a rumor that I was gay to our friends to increase his chances with her. He destroyed years of friendship over a girl I didn't even like and wasn't into him either. Sounds like something Greg Heffley would do. Never heard more wise words. Diary of a scumbag 3rd grader. She collected for a charity and kept the money. 'Cause she needed it more. This should be higher but isn't due to lack of details. Probably when I found out my bio mom intentionally went out her way to have my dad's kid so he'd stay with her. Apparently she'd tried that with other men but wasn't successful. I was adopted at birth and he married her best friend, so didn't work. I was more astounded she told me this to my face like it was a blessing. Like I should be smiling as much as she was that she used no protection and told my father she couldn't get pregnant so he'd sleep with her. I don't think I'm ever gonna get over that one. Dude was in a college-level astronomy class. We were talking about black holes and other cool ST he was learning about. He seemed really excited about it. So I suggested he pursue it as a career. I can't though. Since none of that's true. The universe is only about 6,000 years old. Wanting to FK me. We're cousins. Translation. You can't drop this bomb on everybody and not give more information. What happened? What's the reply say? Underscore. Degree. Underscore. COVID is BS. I don't know anybody that has it. Quote. Bye. Don't talk to me or my children. Don't worry. I have a feeling they'll know somebody who has it pretty soon. Probably not. We don't test much around here. That means nobody gets it. Right? When someone beats an animal they are immediately scum of the earth in my books. He pretended not to understand how he basically crashed a date I had. Because he didn't know it was a date. I can forgive someone if they're being remorseful and/or made a mistake, but not if they want to cover up a DK move with a lie. That sounds something I would do. I never know when someone is into me. Yikes. Sorry. My ex-GF. Apparently she had been cheating on me at least the last 1 year with her ex. And every time I questioned that, why is she still texting him? She started yelling and accusing me of restricting her life. But eventually she got caught and came up with this amazing excuse. Which I of course believed. IKR. Where she could blame me of not trusting her at all. And that she wanted to break up with me because I believed that she was at her ex's place and she could never trust me again. And also accused me of several other things. But then finally 24 hours after getting caught she finally admitted that she was at her ex's. So I dumped her ass on the spot and moved out the next day. But she still kept up coming with excuses that justified her cheating and that it was all my fault. So yeah, that's when I lost all respect for her. Hey. I decided to take his DK. It was me who decided to still talk to him. It was my choice to cheat. But it's your fault. I hate everyone who says this bullshit. Scum of the earth. Those and pedos. Murderers. Rapists and people who lie about rape. The list could go on. The 50-year-old man who leads me on for a year. Knowing full well I am a single mother who does not plan to have any more kids. Mine was born with major health issues and I'm 40. And then promptly dumps me because, well, he'd really like to have his own kids, and since I'm not into it, we're just not compatible. What the actual FK? Politics. I have a sister I love. But she has fallen into the corona is made in a lab by Bill Gates to do something about child trafficking for adrenochrome. Quote. If she and be convinced of all of this I don't know if I can continue on in this world. Animal abuse. He was playing with one of the kitten's toys by bouncing it against his leg. The kitten jumped onto his clothed leg to get the toy. He yelled, picked the kitten up, and threw her against the wall. My friend still married him. If you can believe it. They divorced later. But God. The kitten was okay and lived many more years. Oh my. If I saw someone do this, I'd never talk to them again. How horrible. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more videos.